I was hoping to go back to David Bordenave if we could. Um, David, if you wouldn't mind just like telling us if there's any planned improvements you have for the CTP or like what the kind of next generation might look like and when you might be getting that back into the field to take some more observations.
Sure. So we'll be actually styling the new CTP very much um, in very much the direction that Dapper is developing. So we're trying to use the new balanced correlation receiver architecture, having essentially individual monopoles phased together, um, which Dapper is likely to have, using a new wideband patch antenna. So that's also coming up, and using actually having absolute calibration or the ability to actually get an absolute scale. So we're using switched loads and tone calibration ideally in the next version. So this is all still developing, but we're aiming towards end of the year ideally. Site access to Green Bank is limited nowadays, so we have to work with the pandemic or against it, I guess.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Let me add to that if I could, Neil. I went to
Sure, go ahead.
before as well, and now that we going back to the CTP, so in connection with what David was just saying, I wanted to mention before that the pipeline that I described earlier, it's actually specifically, so we're planning to work specifically with the CTP, which as David discussed is a prototype for Dapper. So we're going to have the opportunity to actually design, and that's what we're working on with David and Rich and Neng and company, to design the training sets that AlphaLive requires from the very beginning and in close collaboration with them, instead of having to, in cases with where data already exists, like the HS analysis that we discussed before, we need to adapt ourselves to what we have at this moment. But for CTP, we actually preparing to do this experiment in close collaboration with the design of the pipeline. So this is going to be an advantage for us. And it's going to be a good exercise. Well, as I said, a prototype for Dapper, for which we're doing the same thing with the same team as well.
I was just confirming, Neil. I also don't see anybody with hands up. I might take the moment though to note we've already had a couple of references. I neglected to note that there is an associated poster session. So please check out, there are several posters that are related to some of the talks that we've seen here. Please check those out as well. And I think it's worth checking around. Some of the posters are sometimes not exactly in the session you might have expected.
Yeah, and to go along with that, the lightning round talks I believe are the next things scheduled in the plenary session. So some of those should relate to these topics as well.
Also comment, I see Phil Stuckey is posting in the chat window more information about the Valis Stokey, to which Bob referred. Well, Neil, should we perhaps give people 10 minutes to take bio breaks, refresh caffeine levels and things like that?
Sure, yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any more questions. Yeah, so I would definitely suggest that everyone go back to the plenary session Zoom, as that's where the next talks will be held.
Again, thank you everybody for the presentations and the associated questions and some of the discussion that has been happening in the chat window. And again, check out lightning talks. I believe Neil himself has one, and posters, and the rest of the plenary sessions. See you virtually around.